Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Sunday evening. Very happy to see you all. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to introduce a legendary Dr. Laurel Victoria Gray. Victoria, where are you? Oh, okay. Victoria Gray, who will share with us some of the elements of the Bukharan Sozanda tradition. There are so many fascinating facts about Laurel biography. It's really difficult to squeeze it on in a few minutes, but I can try to mention the most interesting facts about Laurel. Laurel is a dance scholar, choreographer, performer, and costume designer. She specializes in women's dances from Silk Road countries and from the Islamic world. Her articles have appeared in a number of very prestigious international publications, including the Oxford University Press International Encyclopedia of Dance, the Encyclopedia of Modern Asia, and the Encyclopedia of Women in Islamic Culture. She also teaches global dance history at George Washington University at US. Called the pioneer of Uzbek dance in America, Gray has studied dance in Central Asia and the Caucasus, including 2 years at the invitation of the Uzbekistan State Academy Bolshoi Theater named after Navai. In 1995, she founded the award-winning Silk Road Dance Company, which is very active and very successful to these days. In 2007, in recognition of her great contribution to the promotion of Uzbek culture and art around the world, the Uzbekistan Ministry of Culture awarded her with the title of Honored Professor at the University at Uzbekistan State Institute of Arts. Laurel has been an adjudicator for several international dance competitions, including Uzbekistan Magic of Dance Festival in 2018. Most recently, she also presented her papers at the international conferences held in Uzbekistan. To my surprise, I also found out that Laurel was a newsreader for the English service of Radio Tashkent in 1992. I found it fascinating. As well as the English style editor for the book of the first president of Uzbekistan. And although these facts may be not relevant to the dance, but nevertheless, they demonstrate a very multi-talented nature of Laurel, who can do practically anything. She can dance, choreograph, design costumes, research, write, edit, and perform beautifully. And I believe that today's presentation is linked with another very interesting period of Laurel's life. She spent 2 years in Bukhara, and whilst she was living and studied with the famous Akilov's family of professional Uzbek dancers from Bukhara. And I believe that's your story today about Bukharan originated Sozanda tradition. Laurel, the floor is yours. And if I forgot to mention something, please tell us more.
Sure. So, Assalamu alaikum. Hoş geldiniz aziz dostlar, aziz mehmanlar. Welcome. I have a disclaimer to make. I am not Uzbek, but I have played one on television. So I think that because I am technically a foreign devil, trying to learn a dance that's very different from that of my culture, I may have some ideas about how to teach it that's good for people who are either not professional dancers or are not related to Uzbek culture at all. So I have picked this dance today, this Bukharan dance that is typical of the Sazanda traditional. The Sazandas were specifically a small group of entertainers in Bukhara and a little bit in Samarkand, women only. Women would sing and dance, and there was always this one, maybe 4 or 5 women, always one who was the leader. I was very fortunate to meet Tufa Khan Pinkosova, who is considered like the best Sozanda before she passed away, as well as her student Olya Khan Hasanova. But now that tradition is in jeopardy because it was really held primarily by the Bukharan Jewish population, and they're not living in Bukhara anymore. They've moved out to Tel Aviv or Queens, New York. But the great part of it is that it's really a folk dance. And all of us are folk, right? All of us, you don't have to be a professional ballerina to learn these movements. These come from people's everyday lives, from their existence, and also the clothing. This is a modified Bukharan dress. I'll show you some Bukharan dresses at the end. I decided to wear it even though I usually teach in standard black dance teaching clothes, because the dress is part of the dance, and you'll see that. So many traditional dance forms, the costume and the movements grew together. So you have to know both of them to really get it right. The other thing, for this dance, you wear zang. These are bells, but these are very special bells. If you can hear them, it's not like a jingle bell. It's a different sound. And I bought these. You can tell. Every time I go to Tashkent, I go to the bazaar, the Old City Bazaar, and there's these ladies sitting over there, and they have these for sale. But now they're getting more and more replaced by things from India and China. The sound isn't the same. And these bells are going to be part of the dance. You'll see how they go together. So I'm going to just jump in and we'll start right in. The great thing about this dance is it's follow the leader. So with the sazanda, you'd have one woman standing in front leading everything, and her posse, her backup team would be standing behind her, and they follow her movements, whatever she does. And we do something to the right, and then we do it to the left. So you have two chances to get it. The other part of it is when I was in Bukhara, I actually lived in Tashkent for 2 years, but I did get to Bukhara a couple of times, and I danced with a group there, and what they are improvising. So the leader is always changing what step comes next, but she kind of signals it. I mean, they can tell from her movements what's coming next, and maybe they don't get it the first time, but the second time they get it, they're very relaxed. Let's say that. It's not like a college stage performance that we might be used to. It's very relaxed. So you can all relax and just follow along. So I'm first going to show you some of the basic movements. We'll try them together, and then I'll add the music. And the song is very interesting. It's really in Tajik, which is quite different too. In Bukhara, you have Uzbek and Tajik. Sometimes the song starts in Tajik, but they end in Uzbek. You know, the cultures are so intermixed. I think just like our DNA, we're all mixed up. Nobody's pure anything except humans. So the basic positions that you need to know for Bukharan dance. First position, and with your hands, all the fingers and thumb together, all right? Not like that. You know, imagine they're glued together. Also, there's no bend here. It's locked. Locked, straight out. First position. And second position, up high, again with the thumb high. There's also a variation of this, which I'll explain in a moment. Third position. Fourth position. Fifth, sixth, and seventh. And on seventh, notice I'm pulling my dress in. So you can see, yeah, there's a waistline there. This is and you think about it, women would layer these dresses. So in the winter, you have all these layers, especially with silk underneath. It could keep you warm. In the summer, it's lightweight. And if you're a pregnant lady, you don't have to buy a new dress. You can just still wear your regular clothes. Now, this part here, this is called peshkurta. And sometimes it's quite elaborate with the Zardozi gold embroidery on it. Sometimes beautiful brocades. And I'm going to show you one of the Peshana bonds. We can get into these later, but it's part of the dance. This is the kind of headdress. This is an antique. These are the kinds of headdresses that are worn for this dance, called the Peshana bond. And sometimes they have a scarf or a veil. And why do I mention this? Because if you have been among Fergana Valley Uzbeks, and they'll say, are you going to dance? And they'll go like this, like do wrist circles. You're going to dance? You're going to dance? But with Bukharans, they'll go, are you going to dance? And what they're doing is they're sort of shaking that veil, because at the end of the dance, you'll see that comes into the picture. So the idea of the costume, the clothing, it's all together. So when I lock my arms like this, going straight out, I have to do this because of these wide sleeves. If I had a bent sleeve, you see how I start to disappear in the costume. So we're going to have a special posture. Each of the 3 regional styles of Uzbek dance are all different from each other. Why? Because, you know, less than 100 years ago, they were all separate entities, separate political entities, different dialects, different traditions, and they often made war against each other. So they just are very, very different in their character. So with Bukharan dance, you want to stand as if the sun, let's see if I can get any, like the lights coming here, very proud, lifted. So, and you have, maybe you have gold thread sewn on your costume, you're very proud, and you have this kind of position. All right, so we want to keep that uplifted look all the time. The first thing is we're going to greet everybody and do a nice salam. They have different ones, but we'll just do the simple one like this. And then the song begins. And she's talking about building planks of wood between 4 rivers. These are complex, sometimes philosophical ideas, but the idea is that the Sozanda knows prayers and greetings for all the guests. So they would be able to say, oh, from Almaty, Rosa has come to join us, blessings upon her. I mean, they would be able to do this. They know all, they've memorized special prayers and greetings. The first move we're going to do, you remember this is 7th position of our hands, is you're going to do a figure 8 with your hands, a figure 8. Can you all see that? Imagine that in front of you, the number 8 on its side. There's a figure 8. And we have a very easy basic step that we're going to do. I mean, normally you're wearing special pants underneath, normally these gold thread pants, but I wanted to be able to have you see my feet and legs clearly. And it's a very simple step. It's not back and forth like we do in other dances, but it's just kind of flat, flat, and we just do it all the way through. So once you get started, you don't have to worry about your feet so much. The emphasis is on the upper body and your face. All right, so we're going to go figure 8. All right, then we're going to start hitting our wrists together because we have these magical, the position, the hand position is like this. You can see this hand position, all right? Very important. And Violet Kilova would always say, this is Akila style, you must do this. So as you touch your wrist, and then to the other corner. And there's a little song that goes along with it. The chorus is ta-da-lila-la-lai, 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 yorum. You're going to hear this a million times and you're going to like, wait a second, I didn't think we had to sing too. Yeah, you have to sing. All right. Not right away though. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming forward. And then hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next move, it looks like this. And if you've ever done any kind of knitting or winding of yarn or something, it's sort of, or even, you know, with silk, they do this too in silk thread preparation. So we're going to do that, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the next one, I love it because she's saying, she's talking about your eyes, your burning eyes, your burning eyes. So that the girl's eyes are so beautiful, they burn the hearts of men. So they're gonna hide, she's gonna hide her eyes. And this is where the sleeve comes in handy, right? So you hide and look, hide and look, hide and look, hide and look, hide and look. Okay, that's just the very beginning. Let's try it with music. It'll make so much more sense when we add the music. Let me get my orchestra lined up here.
درمیان چهار دریا رخت بندی کرده ای باز میگویی دامن تر نکن هوشیار باش لرلی لرلی لای لرلی لرلی لای لرلی لرلی لای یاری آب چشم چاب داری لرلی لرلی لای یاری آسه خبر نداری لرلی لرلی لای یاری آچشمی خیالی زاغتی لرلی لرلی لای یاری اما بر نبیند
See, I told you it's easy. It's follow the leader. So I love
Amazing.
very inclusive. Okay, so now it continues, and you're going to look at this one now. This kind of movement, very delicate, but it's going to happen over your head. So I always think that if I had a little kitten, in my hand, and I would be doing this touch. But we're going to add another step. We're going to add a step called Tai Chi. Scissors. You might have even done this at home when you have a nice, smooth wax floor. So you have your toes together, heels together, toes together. You've probably seen this. It's used in a lot of the dances of the East, but we're going to use it to turn in a circle around ourselves. So we have to do a little bit different, because if you think of a pie, when you cut a pie, you have to cut the pieces on a diagonal. So we're going to change this. You come back, and if you can see, I'm going to take my heel and put it to my instep. That's my right heel. And I'm going to now have my toes point each other. not completely because we have to rotate. And then again, my right heel goes to my left instep. And again, and again, and again. See how I'm rotating in place. This dance doesn't travel very much, but think about it. Women were performing for each other in each kari, in the women's quarters. So there wasn't room. There wasn't this big concert stage. That all came after the Soviet Union and the unveiling of the women and these opportunities to take dance on a concert stage. It naturally evolved. But this is really a folk dance. So these smaller areas are typical. You don't have to travel much. It's great for Zoom because you don't need a lot of space to do it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this one, traveling around. And the phrase is the same. So even though you're turning, you might have your back to me. When they finish the last time of Taralilalai, you'll know it's time. The next move after that is this one. So if you have, this arm is like the windowsill and this is the flower, and you want that pinky, it's like the stem of the flower. Your face is the flower. And you're going to now do something special with your chin. You're going to draw a half circle with your chin. So like a crescent shape. And then you just shift your weight. And it's so cute because think about it. You have this headdress on and it's like a head amplifier. So that all the movement becomes bigger and very, very charming. And it, again, you know, there's a song going on, so the people are hearing the lyrics of the song happening. And after that, I always cue from the music. We have one more thing. Then what happens is the steps that we had just done earlier, this one, and this one doesn't happen again, but still part of the slower portion because we're going to see that each section of the dance gets faster. Why? Because the musical phrases get shorter. So you're going to notice it feels like it's speeding up because the musical phrases get shorter. But when we repeat those steps that we had done earlier, we're going to do them a little bit differently. So just as you had done this one, now you're going to put your right foot behind and lean back. Then shift weight. So it makes it different. It makes it different, but it's the same thing. And of course, if you have a scarf on your Pashanaban, when you lean back, I have to pretend my hair is a scarf. It hangs there, and it's very charming to see. So we're going to go forward now. I'm going to go back to the beginning and repeat again. It's follow the leader. And we have plenty of opportunities to repeat these things. So I'm going fast, but I'm sure you can get it. So did you hear the change in the rhythm and it's speeding up? So we went through the first section. We'll go through that again, but you see each part gets a little faster. And of course, that instrument that they're playing, that's the Uzbek frame drum, the daira, which is really the heartbeat of Uzbek dance. And many dances are done only with daira, not even with a voice, just with the drum rhythm. And there's many different rhythms, they have different names, and you know different kinds of movements that are appropriate to the different rhythms. So two things to show you. One, the new movement that I need to put in earlier is this one, where you're sliding your head back and forth. So I'm not moving my arms. My arms are stationary, and I'm sliding my head back and forth. Now, if you're one of those talented people that can move their eyebrow. I can't, I've seen, you know, I have eyebrow envy. Uzbeks have these beautiful eyebrows. But, you know, some can even do an eyebrow undulation. Again, because you're dancing close to people, right? Traditionally, they can see every nuance in your face. And so if you can get an eyebrow happening, then that's even better. So we're going to do the eyebrow after we've done this move. We'll do the eyebrow. And then we're going to go into those first movements we learned before. One style thing. When you change from side to side in Bukharan dance, you do the weight shift through a plie. In front, plie just means to bend. So you bend and come up, bend and come up. So I'm here. When I shift my weight, I bend and come up. I bend and come up. You go down. This is different. In the West, we're used to dance being up, upward, being very vertical, leaping. These folk dances are very, very earthy, close to Mother Earth. So that idea of being close to that, and it's very natural to our bodies too. No turnout like in ballet. You don't have to have your, let me get back here. You don't have to have your feet like this, right? It's just very natural. Just step out to the side, keep your knees forward. You can dance your whole life. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of water and we'll start again from the beginning. Greeting everyone. Thank you.
درمیان چهار دریا رخت بندی کرده ای باز میگویی دامن تر نکن هوشیار باش ترالی لای لای ترالی لای لای ترالی لای لای یاره آب چشمی جادو داره ترالی لای لای یاره
I just farted straight ahead. You know, when you go to Uzbek weddings, they just make you get up and dance. So you don't get a lesson, you just have to watch. So this is good practice. If you haven't ever been to an Uzbek wedding, now you know, just find someone to follow. Okay, so we've launched into part 2. You felt the change in the rhythm? Okay, here we go. So now we're doing these shoulder movements. And again, these hands, if you remember, that's a 7th position, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is sometimes from the 6 also. 7th position. And you're pushing your shoulders. When you're wearing these big, heavy dresses, you have to move your shoulders because otherwise the subtle movements are not going to show. This is one of, you know, these are like museum pieces, right? And some of them are made from velvet. They're very, very heavy, and your movements have to be big to show under that dress. But that's all that you have to do. So you're going to step, then bend your knees, shift the weight. So your feet stay in the same place, you're just shifting your weight. Okay? After that, and you just have to follow me, because if we were doing this live in Bukhara, if we were all Sazanda, you would just be following whatever movements I started to do. You're going to hold the dress out because clothing is very important. In Bukhara, they had sumptuary laws. If you haven't heard that expression before, it meant that you could only wear clothes that were as sumptuous, as beautiful as your status in society. So maybe you were the wife of a merchant who had humble origins, but he made a lot of money. and you tried to wear a really fancy dress, you could be fined. The clothing could be taken away from you, impounded, and beaten. You would be beaten. So they wanted, clothing is one way of showing your social status. So showing your beautiful clothing, showing that you have, look, all the different colors. Every time you get something ikat dyed, it costs more money because each dyer charges. So this is like, oh, look, she must be very rich. Yes, I'm going to show you my beautiful robe. So showing your beautiful garment, and you have the peshanaban on with a scarf. When you turn to the back, we have to remember that the front of us looks different from the back of us. And so when you turn around, they would be seeing a different view altogether. Okay, so they would be seeing these beautiful scarves. And when you're in a group doing this, it's really quite breathtaking for them to turn, and all the women have different scarves on, and it's slow and stately. So we're going to first do the weight shift. Then we're going to show our dress. We'll go in one direction and then the other direction. Then we're going to do this move that I call it tickle the sky. Okay, just so you're reaching up, and this hand comes down here. So gonna tickle the sky. Again, with this characteristic Akila hand position. Hand positions are very, very important, okay? So just think of that. If you've ever played Arabic finger symbols, that's the proper position for that. So we'll do that. When we finish that one, we're going to do one that reminds me of making sumalak, right? You know, this time of year, the ladies are gathering, they have this big cauldron. It looks like something from the witches of Macbeth, you know, this huge cauldron, and it's thick, and they're stirring, right? They stay up all night to make this pudding from wheat germ. And, you know, it's kind of sweet. And remember, it's after long winter. People haven't had access to fresh vegetables and fruits. They're probably vitamin deficient. And here's this wheat germ pudding with all these nutrients in it. It's just a great way to awaken your body and greet spring. So if you think that you're stirring, you can kind of think of that and coming in toward your waist, pulling in. But then there's this little guy. Okay, Central Asian ladies, have you ever seen anyone do this gesture? They often will say, you know, those two, they're such good friends. They're like this, right? You've seen it? Guess what? It's a mudra. In Indian dance, this means friendship or love, connection. So thereby hangs a very interesting tale. But so I just was astounded because I see it in conversations all the time, that gesture. It's also in the dance. So you're pulling this in. It also shows the sleeves. And then for the very last part of that second section that we were working on, you're going to do this movement again, only this time the fingers are lingering above your shoulder. They don't actually touch your shoulder. They're just a little bit above. This is also very interesting because this, which you see this in Uzbek and Tajik dance, it's also a mudra. It's also a classical Indian mudra. Oh, those Sogdians, they got around. Okay, so we're going to do it like this. We're still doing the shoulder pushes, but we're doing it like this. Okay, changing our weight from side to side. And I know you're great at following along, so I'm going to take the whole thing from the beginning, and we'll just follow the leader. Remember, the second part gets a little bit faster, and let's see. We're actually doing a pretty good job. So let's go back to the beginning.
درمیان چار دریا دسته بندی کرده ای باز میگویی دامن تر نکن هوشیار باش لرالی لرای لای لرالی لرای لای لرالی لرای لای یاره آب چشمی چاب داری لرالی لرای لای یاره آسا خبر نداری لرالی لرای لای یاره آتش میخیالی زاغتی لرالی لرای لای یاره اما بد نبینه داغتی لرالی لرای لای یاره پدر نبینه داغتی لرالی لرای لای یاره اما برگو بینه تویتی لرالی لرای لای یاره پدر بینه تویتی لرالی لرای لای یاره همه بینه تویتی لرالی لرای لای یاره یاره آی گل بیشکفته بهارم توی گل بدن لاله سارم توی آهو نگه چشم خمارم توی گل بدن لاله سارم توی بدنی افسرده مدارم توی لاله جان سوزی مرا گوش کن گفته احیار را فراموش کن با همراهی من نشین نوش کن پیشه مهرات در آغوش کن آهو نگه چشم خمارم توی جلوه آن قامتی رنایی تو کشوه آن نرگسی خماری تو برده دلم زلفی سمن سایی تو دادی سرم خاکی قدم هایی تو الفت و همون سیارم توی آی گل گلی سبخر اناری تاشکن انار بیار بالی سپوشان بالی بام شمان رسی به کمان بالی بام اشتی عاشق را کشتی در خون عاشق سیانه رشتی بردی دلمه اغلان گیننه آگل گیننه عین لمن ارگ لمن
Got all the way through. Okay, so the very end, as you saw, that the very end got faster and faster, and that is like the simplest part. And she's talking about different places, like, you know, the pomegranate flower from Samarkand, or the flower bud from Tashkent, or something, all these, but probably in acknowledging the different guests who are there as well. So let me just show you those last few movements. So you're going to do one of them is, you know, I'm so with the music. It's just, I've been doing this dance for how many years? I learned it with the music. Done. Well, one is twist, twist, like this, okay? Like they, you know, we joke about the light bulb in you see this in Bhangra, right? This Bollywood stuff, twisting. So twist, twist, and then you're going to clap, but like so next to your ear. Keep your elbows up high, because remember, if you bring your elbows down, you're just a big puddle of fabric. So twist, 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 twist. Anyway, just follow the leader. And we do 2 sets of movements in the fast part, and then the very end, there's a pause. And this is where you would grab one side of the costume, and you would grab the veil or the scarf on your kashanaban, and you're going to turn. And if you can do a barrel turn, even better. But for now, you can just turn. And then when you end, you bend your knees and you step out into this position. So I've locked my arm, lock this. Again, that's that flat hand. My hand is at the back of the Kashanaban, and I'm here. But you don't have to worry about that. It's follow the leader. So let's try the dance one last time, and we might have time for questions. Okay, one more time from the top. Bashka, right? Here we go.
درمیان 4 دریا رفته بندی کرده ای باز میگویی دامن تر نکن هوشیار باش لرلی لرلی لای لرلی لرلی لای لرلی لرلی لای یاری آب چشمی چاب داری لرلی لرلی لای یاری آسم خبر نداری لرلی لرلی لای یاری آچشمی چیالی زاغتی لرلی لرلی لای یاری اما به نبینه داغتی لرلی لرلی لای یاری آقدر نبینه داغتی آه و نگه چشم خمارم توی جلوه آن قامت رعنای تو کشوه آن نرگس خماری تو برده دلم زلفی سمن سای تو نادی سرم خاک قدم های تو الفت و همونس یارم توی آی گل یدی سمقه اناری تاسکن انار بیار بالی شپوشان بالی بام شمان رسی بکمان بالی بام اشتی آشو راکشتی در خونی آشو یامن اشتی مردی دلنه oğlan gineni gül gineni aynelemen örgülemen
And I think the most important thing about this dance and just Uzbek dance in general is to remember that human beings are made to move. We need to move, we need to dance. It's very good physically, but also psychologically. And we're living in really not normal times. So anything you can do. I love the Virginia girls who came out and danced outside, you know, yay. We have to have it part of our lives, and don't think it's just for the people who get up on stage. It's for everybody, all parts of life. And what my favorite part is in Uzbekistan, they have a special kind of dance company that is only for older ladies. Young girls can't be in it. You have to dance all your life long. They do simpler things, but they're dancing and singing and having a great time. They found from the the New England Journal of Medicine that the only kind of physical activity that can help you avoid dementia is dance. So we look at old people dancing, we think, oh, they must be crazy, but actually they're the ones who aren't crazy because they're dancing.
Laurel, thank you so much. What an enjoyable experience it was. And to be honest, it was even more special because it felt like our sister is teaching us the dance. It was incredible. I never ever could imagine that Bukhara dance will be taught from Washington live by an American lady, American sister.
Thank you. Thank you. So maybe people have some questions. I'm not looking at the chat. There's some chat. Okay. Oh,
thank you so much. We enjoyed it. We're actually here based out of Dallas. So thank you so much for this beautiful class. We'd be really keen to hear how you got involved with Uzbek dancing. What was your inspiration?
Oh, this is a really long story, but I'll make it short. I had, from childhood, I'd been always interested in things of the East. And if you can wait 30 seconds, I can show you something that's pretty amazing. I just have to grab a painting off the wall. One moment.
In the meantime, I just want to thank everyone for joining and supporting our Green Bukhara campaign. We will plant a tree for every donation. And Tanya here, Aziza, can you see we have Tanya Abad here? So she made the donation on her birthday for our campaign. So thank you so much, Tanya. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
So
Tanya.
this is the painting.
Yeah.
And I did this painting when I was 11 years old. The main color is green, and you can see it has minarets and a dome. It looks kind of like a mosque. Okay, I grew up in Spokane, Washington. There's no buildings like that. So everything about the East attracted me from an early age, and dance and everything as well. But I actually was first able to see Uzbek dance in 1979 when the Bakhor Ensemble came to the US, and they came to Seattle, Washington. And it's a long trip. Let's just say I met this young woman, and it turned out she was Uzbek, and she was People's Artist of Uzbekistan, Kızılhan Duzmahmedova. And she became my mentor, my lifelong teacher. And she's still teaching me because I still make mistakes. So, but that's the custom in the East, is a teacher isn't just something, you know, for a couple of classes and goodbye. It's a lifetime relationship. And your teacher also has to guide you in how to behave and all kinds of aspects of life. And you always respect your teacher. You can even disagree with your teacher. She can disagree with you, but there always has to be that respect. And we don't have it in the West. It's purely a commercial exchange in the West. So I think we need to go back to some of those traditions. But if you go to Uzbek, I guess it's Uzbek Dance or Uzbekdance.org. There's information there. Also, my personal website is my name, laurelvictoriagray.com. And my dance company, silkroaddance.com. You can find more stuff than you ever really wanted to know about me. So you can hear the whole story. But when I saw her dance, and it was specifically the dance Munajat, when I saw her dance Munajat, I had to learn it. I had to learn it. And later when I asked her about it, she says, it's the most difficult dance. You know, it's very emotional, spiritual. It's a prayer. Why are you picking this dance? I go, you know, I just understood it. I just understood it through the gestures and all. So that was part of a long adventure. And I was trying to go to the Uzbekistan when it was still part of the Soviet Union, which was not easy. And in my trips, I would have someone assigned to me. Going there alone, my family, everybody was terrified. Something horrible is going to happen to me. And I said, no, it's okay. They keep track of me. KGB knows where I am all the time. Don't worry. Okay, so anyhow, so you can read, it's a very long story, but you can read it. It'll probably be more interesting that way. And I have to say that the Uzbek Vatan Society, the Fatherland Society for compatriots living abroad, they started to invite me, make trips for me. And I said, Vatan, that's fatherland. I'm not a compatriot. I'm not Uzbek. They said, it doesn't matter. You are really interested in our culture. You're preserving it. So I became the first American to go there and study. And I sometimes took advantage of that because maybe I didn't want to do something, or I would say, oh no, that's an Uzbek, it's an American custom. We don't do that. And there hadn't been any Americans there, so they had to believe me. So I just say, oh, u mnie Amerykański styl. So, but then Americans started coming. I couldn't get away with that anymore. And I had to, as I said, I had the good fortune to meet these famous people, not only the Sozandas, but Galia Izmailova and Mukarram Turumbayeva had already passed away just shortly before the tour. But Kunduz Mirkarimova, Razia Karimova, all this golden generation that brought Uzbek dance up to the concert stage. Tamara Khanu wrote me letters. I was in her house, a guest several times. She even gave me a costume. So that kind of generous willingness to share the culture with somebody who's clearly an outsider. There was just, you know, I was just very, very fortunate. They took pity upon me. There's this strange American. She wants to learn our dance. Okay, good. Teach her some steps. You know? What could happen, right?
That is amazing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I love your project.
Thank you so much.
You know, green. You can change the microclimate.
Yes.
The trees are our lungs for planet Earth. Every tree is precious. So
yes.
you know, anything I can do to help. I wore green.
Thank you so much.
Show solidarity.
We already planted 3,500 shrubs and 500 trees. And on 13th of March, we are planting 300 more trees in Bukhara. And
Wow.
we already raised 45,000 euros in 3 weeks' time. It's a complete record. We're absolutely
Wow.
ourselves. And hopefully this all will be matched by EBRD, which means the amount will double and will reach 100,000 euros. And this all will go for the trees. And then we will spend little amount on education, why trees are important. And the third little amount will be spent on IT program that will monitor all these trees. So I'm building this one by one, but at the moment we're on planting stage because we need, and we're planting all trees that actually have, they all have big crown.
Like crown, yeah, it's a crown.
They all reduce temperature, we retain water.
Yes.
They have the retention qualities, and we're going to change humidity, so microclimate in Bukhara in general.
It's fantastic. When I was there the first time, I felt the desert I could feel it trying to suck all the moisture out of me. It was, you know, it's very. I never had that experience before, but I felt the desert was trying to get me. So, and since it's, you know, going to be International Women's Day tomorrow, so this is a little hyacinth for all the ladies, and it smells really good. And, so, because, you know, like the song, they keep talking, all the women in the song, they're talking about women. They're like the daffodil and the pomegranate flower and all this. So we are the flowers, and that's why we know to protect the earth. It's women, you know, men have messed things up long enough. Step in, right? You have to step in and get things organized. So, do we have any other questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your time. Time is one asset, one resource that is not renewable. And it's been a precious hour to spend with you. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. Thank you for your support for our Green Bukhara campaign. And we love you all. You have lots of Uzbek sisters now. We're huge. Thank you so much. From all of us, thank you.